All right, I believe that we are on.
Yes.
I believe, yes, we are finally on after so much difficulties, but we praise God that we are finally on. I am finally here with the anointed, the educated, the queen herself, a higher education queen,
Thank you, love.
Dr. Shayna Usay. So I am so glad to have her on tonight. Thank you all, everyone who is joining. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for your love. Thank you for sharing. I am officially on. My sound is good. Thank you for my dear husband.
Shout outs to Joe, brother Joe.
Joe, come on, Joe. I I have a thankful heart tonight because, it's been 4 months since I have done Laughing Sarah Live. I leveled up in my life by losing 53 pounds. So, yes,
That's how we do it.
that's how we do
We
it.
literally shed the weight. Okay.
I mean, you have to lose the weight, not just physically, but just
Yes.
emotionally and physically. And I was saying in one of my lives that I was trying to get on is that I have like these cool earrings for Black History Month, and because we are queens, yes. And I don't know if y'all can see it, but I have a shirt that says pretty Black and educated, because that's who we are. We are beautiful queens. But really, on tonight is about it's my time. That is this entire session or a series. Is it's my time. It's your time to do it in 2021. If you didn't do it in 2020, 2019, 18, all the way to 1974, it is not too late.
No.
People that are going back to
Yeah.
school at the age of 70. There's people that are going back to school, or even if you say, I'm not going back to school, school is not for me, or higher education is not for me, get some type of training so you can be your best self. So, Dr. You say,
Yes, ma'am.
you tell
How are
people,
you,
tell
Elder?
the people that is on this line who you are, a little bit about yourself, your amazing sorority. Just tell the people who you are on tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited we got through the technical difficulties.
Because it's crazy.
Um, and it's all good because we're really going to have a really great discussion, I'm sure.
Yes.
My name is Dr. Shayna Utse. I am originally from Brooklyn, New York, Flatbush to be exact. I am a higher ed administrator. I particularly serve in the realm of student affairs, so I'm a student affairs practitioner. And I am also a licensed minister. I serve at I Am the Way Christ Church, which is located in Brooklyn, New York on Saratoga Avenue. And there I serve in the capacity as a minister, preaching minister, service, and any other area that folks would need me to fit in, basically. I'm a member of Chi Nu Alpha Christian Sorority Incorporated, and we are a faith-based organization where our motto is ministry, missions, sisterhood, and self-respect. So I'm also a national president of the organization.
Okay.
So been in that role now for about, I guess you could say 2 solid years at this point. So yeah, so that's
a mouthful,
but a little bit of me, but that's me.
But an amazing part of you. Come on, national officer. Come on here.
I also work at Fordham University, and I'm a director within the Graduate School of Education. So that's my professional hat.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let's get right into it because I know that individuals were waiting for us and so forth. Why did you go back to school? What was the purpose of you going back to school, getting those coins up? Because yes, sip the tea. But going back to school, getting that PhD, right? Or is it EDD? Which one did you?
I have an EDD. So I have a doctorate in education, not a doctorate in philosophy. Those are the two differences.
All right. So why did you go back to school and become Dr. Shano?
Okay, so I didn't want to. It wasn't on my to-do list. Anyone that knows me know I don't want to necessarily do something if I know I had a tumultuous prior experience. So going into my undergrad, my mom passed away. And so being a young woman and a young Black woman and without a mom, my understanding was you have to go to college, you have to go to school. So for the sake of my mother's legacy, I went. That was hard because I was first gen, my mother's deceased, I'm Black, and I'm a woman. So I had a lot of layers to fight through. By the time I finished, I was like, I ain't never doing that again. Then it turns out I start working really heavy in student affairs and realized that I need a master's degree. So I decided to get a master's in counseling because I was literally counseling students, but without the background and the theoretical lens. So I was doing some good things, but I didn't have a lot of grounding in what I should so that I can best serve my student or meet their direct needs. And getting a counseling degree shifted my life. It shifted the way that I see the world around me and the way that I see myself in the world. So that it allowed me to be a better person of service in my church community, in my academic field, as well as in my professional arena. That was very hard. I lost my job. I was working at LIU at the time. A lot of changes were happening. They downsized. And so anyone that knows if you work for an institution of higher learning, you can go to school for free. So unfortunately, the tail end of my degree, it wasn't free anymore. So with that experience, I was like, I ain't doing that again. So once I got out, I was like, hallelujah.
Thank you, Jesus.
But then my former pastor came to me in the middle of the service and he said, Dr. Utse. And I was like, okay, like whatever. Look. And then there was a prophetic word that came to me at the time that affirmed that this would be my future. Then I started getting conversations with people that were saying, hey, you should get your doctorate. It was like once that service of church happened, it just, people started coming to me. And I still was like, nah, you're tripping. Nah, you're good. I'm not doing that. Yes. You don't know what I went through at every stage of my process. People think going to school is easy, or they look at me because I've done it so much. Oh, you'll be fine. It's hard because I'm a Black woman in a very oppressive system. So it's not that easy just to go to school. There's a lot of factors that come into play when you go and get an education. So that's something maybe we'll talk about later, but I was encouraged. My professional environment, I maxed out of every position. So usually in a professional role, you kind of see what's necessary to get a certain pay grade, or you see what's necessary to grow. And I did everything in student affairs, residence life, student leadership and development, fraternity and sorority life, student health services, academic advisor, academic counselor. I served as a campus pastor at Long Island University. So I then basically did everything. So it's like, you need to work on getting a doctorate so that you can be a dean of students or a vice president of student affairs or somewhere in the cabinets, because you've worked at all the lower and entry level and mid-level positions. And so I said, no, I'm fine. I like what I'm doing. And the fear of going back is what made me ignore the prophecy. It made me ignore the encouragement. And just knowing what I went through in my private hours, I wasn't willing to go through that again. It's a very lonely road when you want to aspire to something that is of a high call. So when people were saying, go back, and I'm saying to myself, sleepless nights, I don't want to go back to that. Crying, I don't want to go back to that. Feeling alone in the process, I don't want to go back to that. And so it wasn't until I had a life-changing experience in a relationship that I said, I might as well just go back. So I obeyed the voice of the Lord and I applied to some programs. And during that time, I still was in resistant mode, but I put the effort in. So because I threw some things out there, I got some responses, did a few interviews, and then I wound up making a decision to go for the gusto and go wholeheartedly. And that's actually how I decided to pursue a doctorate, because it was necessary for me to grow professionally. And it was a part of my purpose, because the Lord had already sent a word to me and others as encouragement and a reminder. Even though I was resistant, I did it anyway.
Sometimes we are hard-headed. We get the man or woman of God that will give us a prophetic word and an accurate prophetic word, but we're like, nah, I'm good.
I looked at him and I said, oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Listen. I think it took me, so now 11 years since I've been back in school. So 11 years ago, I got my master's.
Yes, I remember. I remember.
11 years ago.
We were like neck and neck with our masters. Yes.
11 years ago. And, an awesome, established man of God who is my senior pastor called me out on the pulpit, and he was like, yeah, so at the time, Minister Natalie, so when are you going back to school? And I was like, but for real though, Pastor?
Not planning on it.
Listen, it's just, you said something so key. Fear gets in the way.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
But so he left me alone.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got another prophetic word. So Dr. Scott, and I was like,
pretty much.
But you need individuals in your life, and I want to talk about that. You need individuals in your life that will push you to be your best self. So not only did my senior pastor push me, but then my spiritual mom pushed me. And then I had other individuals push me and say, hey, Natalie, hello.
Yeah.
So why do you think, or why do you believe in your own experience, why did fear cripple you for going back to school?
Well, in my respect, it was the behind the scenes process that I just didn't want to go through, because I had been in school for some time already. This would be technically my last degree of study. And I just knew that level is going, my hair gonna fall out. Like, I just knew. So my reasoning wasn't the work per se, because I often let people know the work is doable. It's hard, right, but it's doable, right? Just like anything else in life that you want to do, you find a way to discipline yourself to get it done. But in respect to education, folks deem it not necessary to invest in it. Sometimes people deem it's not for everybody. Sometimes people deem, what's another colloquial narrative or social construct that people adhere to, unfortunately? Something to the effect that you won't be able to pay your loans back or something. So these narratives tend to create, and look at who they say it to. This is Black History Month. We're gonna go there. I'm gonna take it there. So for the most part, we find ourselves in a position where we think that we're not supposed to make an investment in our intellectual prowess. We think that if we're gonna use money for something, it has to be a get-rich situation, or it has to be something that brings us superficial happiness, not realizing that your brain is the most luxury item that you can ever own and invest in.
Ooh, that's
so if
good.
You know that your brain is of high quality, it is the central nervous system of the body. When everything else burned down or something happened to you and you're in the street, what's left? Your body and your brain.
Yeah.
So we really get it twisted sometimes where we say, someone may say, oh, it's in you. And you go, well, what's in me? What do you mean? That is that means your brain. That's what that means. Okay. So when people hear that, I don't want you to limit it to your monetary substantiating flow or anything. It's really talking about the capacity of your intellect, your ability to be a thinker, your ability to be creative, your ability to make decisions that can beget bigger and better things. So the reason why people tend to be fearful of going back to school is because of those narratives that have been propagated and constantly thrown at us. Because I heard that. My mother was deceased before I went to college. My grandmother stepped in and became my mother. I was in a single family household. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm young, I'm Black. So all those statistics that would say, well, she ain't gonna be nothing. Look what happened, right? And my mom didn't have money saved up. My family did not. And some of us will use that as an excuse. And I would say that
I don't have enough money. And
yeah, I don't think you should pay attention to that, because just like you find money to do other things, you can. I remember counseling a family, and the mother said, you need to go find some way to get money because I'm not paying for your education. And she had a son. And you don't have any money, but then you tell this young man, your son, that you're not going to invest in his most luxury item, which is his mind. And I said to myself, well, looking at you guys, I can tell you can afford college because you're wearing your entire year on your body.
Wow.
I said, we have layaway, we have afterpay, we have all these things for superficial reasons, but we can use those same constructs to get through educational fields. They have payment plan options. Just like you take a loan out to get a vehicle, you can take a loan out to be educated. There are many ways to pay. You can look at how things can be downsized and start putting a value on the quality of who you are and becoming. And I know this is not technically a preaching moment, but I'm a very firm believer.
Listen here, you got the right one.
I'm a very firm believer of the scripture that says there's treasure in our earthen vessel. And I believe our brain is one of the treasures. And if we really do some deep diving and pulling out, we can really find that we can make a major difference, not just in our immediate circle, but in the world that's around us. So I think that hearing that college is something you got to pay out by cash, hearing something along the lines that you're going to be in debt for the rest of your life, or hearing something along the lines that it's not for everybody, I think those are the three negative narratives that have penetrated our system of thinking, and more particularly the African-American community, which is why there's some resistance to knowing that this is a tool to have the seat at the table that we're always marching and talking about. It's one of those things that's useful so that we can have intellectual conversations or challenge the systems that are in place. So I really think that those are the three things that create the fear as to why people don't want to go back, because we're brilliant. Black is brilliant. We're innately born to shine and to do amazing things. It's in our nature. So once you add scholarship to that, out of this world. Okay.
You know what? I was commenting before. I said you are wearing a crown. Like literally, I love it. And it's just like you said something so key, which is that this is a tool for you to sit at the table. Mm-hmm. So, and we talked about fear, but why is it, do you believe that and I want to get a little bit more deeper, our people, and this is the last Friday of Black History Month.
Yeah.
And let's just be honest, we celebrate in a month that's the shortest month of the year.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to start no trouble, but
they did that. They sure did that. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
We want to better ourselves, but then we get jealous at others that are doing better than us, right? Why is it? Do you
take a drink?
I know. Why is it, do you believe that there is jealousy amongst our people when someone is doing better than us, when you may have the tools but don't utilize the tools? I know that's a mouthful, but why do you believe individuals don't go back and do what they need to do instead of looking at others who are doing better than you?
Ooh, okay, that's a lot.
We going there tonight. We going
go there. That's fine. Let's go there. This is a chat. So yes. Let me chat with my sis for a sec. Okay. Definitely have been in those shoes or positions where it's not you, it's jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes people need to just sit back and say, it's not me, it's jealousy. So it's nothing that you're doing, all right? It's nothing about your hair, nothing about the way you're dressing, has nothing to do with your jargon, the way you speak. Because you could be a brilliant, beautiful, amazing woman, right? Because we're talking to women here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can be the full package, and you step into a room or you go in places and people are giving you the stiff arm, or they're treating you a certain way because you have that light or you have that caliber that you bring presence to a room. Most people who do that or who have that are very self-aware. So to answer your question, the opposite of that would be lack of self-awareness.
Mm.
So the reason why looking at someone who has gone through the trenches, who has took time to commit to a very hard task and come out and have done it correctly and earned it, because maybe we'll talk about that later, and have earned it.
You might as well just go there, sis.
And have earned it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There are people who want that, and as an inadvertent response, I don't like it because I don't have it. So when you become self-aware, you tend to know I need to go back to school, right? When you become very self-aware, you're cognizant of how you're treating other people. Right. And you want to be more engaging rather than an opposer. You'll be more supportive rather than a divider or be divisive. When you have self-awareness, you know, I should be a little bit nicer.
Mm-hmm.
I should take the time to mind my own business, because that's okay. And I think that comes out, the jealousy is because you see yourself in someone else, but the mere fact that you wasted your time, the mere fact that you won't even challenge yourself to go for it, and the mere fact that you keep doubting yourself, you start projecting your insecurities, your fears, and it comes out in the form of jealousy. And that's what jealousy actually is. It's literally a backwards compliment. The person doesn't hate you. You haven't done anything wrong. It's just that they see where they could be or what they need to do, and they haven't met themselves yet. Because if they did, they would be in school, or they would be doing what you're doing, or they just would have done it already. So I like to say it's not you, it is jealousy. So this way people can separate and stop taking onus of somebody else's trash or somebody else's insecurity or somebody else's weight, if that makes any sense.
Right, right. That's so good. That is so good. So you said, I want to go back a little bit. So you said that you maxed out in your careers, that you
Yes.
maxed out within your different aspects within higher education. And you said that there was a pivotal or a time where, you know, you was like, you know what, enough is enough. I'm going to go back. So can you go a little bit more into that? What was your enough is enough? Like, why did you decide, like, you know what, this is my particular time? What was it that made your time to go back to school?
I was tired of people thinking because I was young and Black that I would take anything from anybody. And being that I've been in the field for over 15 years, 20 years at this point, I didn't feel that I was being respected for what I can contribute. And so some people who may be watching or listening, you may know what that feels like when someone discredits you because you don't have an alphabet behind your name, or someone discredits you because of your age, or someone discredits you because of how you look, right?
Right.
So I knew that I wanted a higher pay grade. I knew that I didn't want to be treated the way that I was being treated anymore. And I knew that I had a lot to offer. And I knew that going back for a philosophical degree, a degree that allows me to do research and, philosophize and have inquiry and do some hardcore studying and research about my field. and contribute something to the profession, because that's the role of a doctorate degree, is to find a gap and fill it. So being that I was having all these feelings and all these experiences, and so I said, there's a problem here. And so using the space for research to fix that in a way, or to contribute to the profession, I found that that's the route that I need to go, because obviously sitting at this table over and over again, I got all the free lunches I needed. They invited me to everything, and then they just stopped listening to me. They stopped hearing me. So I said, no, I'm not going to be seen and not heard. And just knowing that God had more for me to contribute in the marketplace, this was one of the tickets. And I love serving students directly. I love hearing and seeing how they grow. I love knowing their background, the context of their character, and the quality of life they desire, and how they see the university helping them to get there. I think that's so brilliant, because usually college students, their conceptualization, it varies per level. But just to know that they had that understanding that they can do that is like, yeah, so how can I help? But I was just tired of certain things, and I didn't like the treatment. And being Black in a very racial institution, people don't realize education is extremely racial. It is very racial. That's why we have different districts, because certain people can be educated in this system. Because some people don't understand, K through 12 districts are created by income. So if you have low income, that's your district. If you have high income, that's your district. So this is why the education is different too, because you're technically divided by your race, and you're divided by your income. And same goes for higher ed. It's a little bit different in higher education. Some people go to certain schools for some academic clout, social clout. I go to this school or I go to that school, but when it comes to the job market, we're all on the same playing field, right? So who's going to show that they can creatively answer the issue that I have, in this area, in this job? But overall, I think that, I hope that answers the question in some way, but.
No, you're good.
Yeah, so that's particularly what it was. And then also I had some genuine people around me that were like, Shane,
that was my next
they were
question.
like, you could really do this, you can do that. And one of my leaps of faith is when I instituted a program with President Klein. She's still the president now at LIU. And she said to me, she said, I've seen you around campus before, but I didn't know you did all of this. And this posture and this humming and this hand fling, I don't like that kind of thing. Like, don't talk to me like that. And yes, I'm dropping names because I don't work there no more, and I can. Some people might be like, "Oh, you talking about the pet?" I'm not. It is what it is. But I helped institute a program to help with retention, and that's why she came into the institution. And so I was suggested because I had a really great pulse with the students, and serving in so many different capacities, they felt she would probably be a good person to talk to get an understanding of possibly why students not returning, possibly why students stay and leave or what have you. So when I had that meeting, it was immediately, I was just like, yeah, I need to be doing what she's doing, or I need to be working from her perspective. And so that gave me some inspiration, because I didn't like to be talked down to. I didn't like to feel that I didn't matter. I didn't like to feel like I was an afterthought. And just knowing that I've been doing this for so long and it's a passion of mine, I need to be able to help shift the construct of the dynamics that's going on. And there was a lack of representation of Black and brown people. Even though CW Post is located in an affluent white neighborhood, there was still a need for representation. And so I did my best to help in that area. But my colleagues, Dr. William Clyde and so many others, they were just like, listen, you need to go get this doctorate. And I was just like, no, 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 stop saying that, stop saying. And I'm like, look, I'm working with the president, I'm doing this project. Like, and he was like, it's not enough. And it wasn't enough because after serving, I got cut. So it didn't matter. So it really helped make me realize that I need genuine people around me and to discern the difference between quality over quantity. Because sometimes we think we need a group to say we have friends. But if I just got one, which I only have one, I'm good. I'm fine. You know, somebody that I can bounce ideas off of, talk to, share things with is fine. But in my collegial experience, I can honestly say that I had some really great, dope people that were like, yo, you need to get your doctorate. So that's how that happened.
I want to talk a little bit about the key of a support system. So who was like your support system during your doctoral studies? And who, so I would say support system and then also accountability. So why is it so important to have a support system and accountability for you to stay successful? And it doesn't matter if you're in a doctoral program or not, because there's some individuals that are on this live that, you know, are not trying to get a doctoral degree, but maybe go back to get their master's or go back to get their degree, go back to get an associate's, or there's some parents that is on this line that have children that said, you know what, I don't want to go back. This is it for me. Why is it so key to have a support system that will push you forward?
So support systems are powerful because just like we use an illustration of a plant, if it's in the wrong environment, it dies. Right. So same thing as a person, when an individual is in the right environment, which is reflective of the communities that they ebb and flow out of, your church community, your work community, your relational community, your kickback friend community, whatever community that you in and out of, make sure that these are folks that don't have an issue with you moving forward. Because there are people who like you and they like you because you can rub shoulders with them. You right where they are. But then there are people that want you because you have that light. What we were talking about earlier, you come into a room, you shift the whole dynamics, and they just want to stay up under that because they don't want to do anything. So they just leech. So you need to have a level of discernment, and you need to be able to always survey your environments. And it may sound like a lot of work, but it's not. Just like you get up every day and you think about when you're going to spend your money and how you're going to spend your money. How are you going to spend the time that you're never going to get back? And you usually spend that time in certain environments and with people. So that's why it's important to have a great support system, but it's also indicative of the environment. Where are you going? Oftentimes, the people you hang out with is an inadvertent reflection of who you are internally. Because you may have a friend that's fun. You got a fun part too. You got a friend that's serious. You can have a serious part too. So you may have a few friends that take a piece of you, right? But at some point, where's the progress? So we can be great friends, but there needs to be dynamic upgrade of dynamics. So you can't stay at ground level one all the time.
Right.
Somebody has to go up. So I think that we don't think about it, but mentorship is so impactful. We think, you know, we have transferring of spirits through different things, but behavioral patterns are transferable too. So if you hang around somebody that doesn't really have an edge to do better, most likely you're going to look at your life and not want better either. So I think that it's important to think about the character traits of the people you're hanging around. You don't necessarily want what they have per se, you know, like you want those exact things, but you do want a level of growth. And find people who are not stingy leaders, people who are not stingy. Because I know a couple of deans, I've met a bunch of college presidents, and some of them are just stingy. They don't share. Everything is like going through jumping through a hoop, a loop. It's terrible. And you want to make sure you're around people who don't mind sharing gems, because it's going to make them better, because they're allowing infrastructure to be built by pouring into you. So you want to be around people who don't mind sharing and they're not stingy. For me, I have several mentors. Again, it goes back to what I was just illustrating. I have a mentor finance, I have a mentor ministry, I have a mentor spirituality. I have mentors for different things because everyone does not encapsulate everything. So that sometimes can be tricky for people who are looking for inspiration or aspiration. They think they just got to find one person and then they divulge too much, and the focus is not necessarily what their strengths are. And so you're kind of like in a situation where the blind is leading the blind because you unfortunately gave them access to an area that they're empty in. So it's very important to make sure that who you're connected to has something in the area of your desire. And they may just have one thing. They may have 5 things. But it's okay if they don't have all things, because that gives you opportunity to go seek, to continue to dig through. So my family was really great. Again, going to school again, it was a affirmation of my mom. So I'm continuing her legacy. She always wanted me to go to college, and my sister. The legacy of my mother was an internal motivator and an encourager. It was something that I felt that, she would want me to do this. My mom raised me to never worry about my looks, people, places, and things. My mom raised me to find the beauty of my intellect. So when people compliment me or say certain things, I don't get the same excitement as it may be with others, because my intentional beauty is connected to some more grounding things, like more granulated things. Because when people care about you, or when people genuinely want to be around you, this doesn't matter, right? They're always going to be there. So I always felt a connection with people who had genuine regard towards me. So it's always easy for me to snip, clip, and strip. I never had an issue with walking away. I never had an issue with partying or leaving a job, or I've never had those kind of troubles, because I'm dedicated to my purpose and I'm very connected to that which is genuine. So during my doctoral studies, my master's studies, even my bachelor studies, I had a mentor for different things. I had 1 or 2 friends, and I always had my family. They never left my side crying. They were there wiping my tears, motivating me. And then my church community, always. I don't think there was ever a time where I was in church and I felt like I couldn't do both. Because some people do. They feel like I can't do both, but I was able to do both. So my church community played a very big role in that, because I knew that once I gotten this understanding that was beyond the church walls, or that were beyond the constructs of what we know, I can contribute that back. So, yeah.
That's so good. So I want to talk a little bit. How has your advanced degree bettered your career or the opportunities as a whole? Like, how has it opened doors for you?
That's a question people always say. Does it really do anything?
Because people want to know, like, is it worth it? Is going back to school or getting a doctorate worth it? Or going back, getting a master's, is it worth it?
Of course. Pay grade is worth it. As a person of color, it's extremely worth it, because it is narrated that we should not, we will not, we shall not. So going against that is important. Changing the infrastructure of your family. I'm the first doctor in my family. Like, my grandmother has a doctorate of divinity, but in relations to a marketable tool in the marketplace, I'm the first. And so I now have created a aspiring line in my bloodline now. It's not, oh, my professor is, a Caucasian male and he's a doctor, or my professor is a Caucasian, female and she's a doctor, or whatever. Now it is tangible. The other benefit to it is that I can go into spaces and help change lives. When you go to the doctor's office, 9 times out of 10, you agree and you believe everything the doctor says. And you do that because you know that they went through a disciplinary track record, and you know that their trajectory has been nothing but what it is to make sure that their practice is ethical, is purposeful, and it makes it successful for the person to ask. Right. So I'm able to sit in spaces or to be in places where I can honestly say, according to such and such, or as per, or I could even challenge narratives. And I've already challenged some while we were sitting here. There have been so many narratives I've already, I think, dispelled in this conversation.
Right.
But through research and really diving deep into the granulated foundations of what's going on and why, and how I can finesse it to be at a level where people can understand it and apply it. I'm really keen on making sure that, you know, you have your degree and be proud of it, but don't talk over people's heads. That bothers me a lot.
Can you just back up, let's rewind. You said not to talk over people's heads.
Right.
Why is it key when you have your advanced degree to meet people where they are?
Because you're supposed to be a servant. Education is a serving role. Being a doctor, right? If you're a medical doctor, you're in the line of service, first line of defense, right? When you're an academic doctor, you are a first line of like defense, because your research is trickling down. People are making institutions based off of what you've researched. People are building constructs based off of what you've researched. So I think that when it comes to talking over people's heads, there's a lack of professionalism, there's a lack of care, there's a lack of genuine regard. And the person is not necessarily trying to connect with the people, but they're trying to almost use the person, or use the people rather. So I think once you talk in a way where the person can adapt, bring application, this is how change manifests. This is where inspiration comes from. This is where application can be practiced, because you're able to say things that brings a light bulb on and a level of enlightenment where they can say, oh, I could do it too. And that's what really my role is about. It's about letting students and people know you can do it too. If I can do it, you can do it. Trust yourself, trust the process, believe in it. And sometimes we don't want to admit it, but when we start going higher, immediately there's a cutting away that has to take place. We don't want to agree with that, but it's true. And sometimes it's our own family members. Sometimes it's people that we've been rubbing shoulders with for a long time. But it's necessary, because like you were talking about earlier, the weight can keep you down. It affects your thinking. It affects your ability to see yourself, and it clouds your self-awareness. You don't even become aware anymore of the things that you're supposed to have, or the places you're supposed to be in, or the tables you're supposed to be sitting at, because you're around people that are telling you to look the other way and to ignore the unction that's growing in you.
This is such a good conversation. Woo! You are really dropping some great nuggets. I want to ask you this question. Why is it so important to pay it forward? Someone has paid it forward to you, and I was talking about mentorship, but why is it so important once you have the education to pay it forward to either someone who is trying to go back to school, or even, and let's take out school out of the equation. Yeah. School is not for everyone, right? There may be someone who—
So they say.
Listen, there's some individuals that may not want to go back to a higher education institution, but they want to either get like a certificate, because there are some, but that's still bettering yourself. But why is it so key to pay it forward when you have achieved a higher degree?
I can only speak from my own lens as a Black woman, and as a young Black woman, whose mom died right before going into college, as a young Black woman who doesn't have a mother living, that is a open Christian, as a young Black woman who's an open Christian, whose mom has passed away. I mean, I could just keep adding layers to this to prove why it's important to pay it forward. If I had met certain individuals, I would have never known that it's possible. I would have never known that I can have a better life. I wouldn't have known that I could change lives. I wouldn't have known that my narrative is not my entire narrative. There's still room for growth, right? Like change can happen at any time. You can wake up tomorrow, change, you know? And meeting the people that I met that spoke to me in my faith system, that spoke to me in my academic, in my professional career, to see how they gave me advice, that's why it's important to pay it forward. I wouldn't be here. I don't think I would have obeyed what God purposed for me if I didn't have the right people around me motivating me and encouraging me and molding me in that direction. Because there are people that will mold you to go left when you know right is your way, or vice versa. So paying it forward allows another person to be their best selves. Paying it forward allows a person to contribute to the construct that Black and brown people need. It allows you to have a voice in spaces that somebody else cannot. And paying it forward also allows you to create a new paradigm. Doctoral level work is paradigming. It goes into realms of learning that you're like, huh? Research, and it unlocks so many things, and you go, so that's why we do that? Oh my God. Or you mean to tell me the government, you know, and I'm not talking about conspiracy literature. I'm talking about hardcore evidentiary facts as to why it's been under wraps. But because someone like myself has already had access to this information, now I'm going back to my people and I'm saying, stop doing that. You want to know why? Because this is what's going on. Stop saying that. You want to know why? Because they want you to believe that. Do you see white people saying school is not for me? Do you see white people saying any of this? And all of them are not rich. So let's get that out of the, we got some very, low, downtrodden, challenged, people in all racial backgrounds, right? So some things we've adapted to and it's become our cultural narrative, and it's very unfortunate, Like I said earlier when we were speaking about another question, your brain is the most luxury brand item that you can own until death do you part. And if you don't think that it's worth investing in, like you do all these other things, then you'll always be seeking and searching. You'll never be satisfied. So that's why getting a certification is powerful, because it certifies you and it exposes you to more. Getting a degree, it does certify you and affirms your study in a specific area. It does allow you to go into spaces that create infrastructural change, because you could be the first Black person, or you could be the first person to think of a new paradigm as it relates to something that has been going on for centuries, something that has been happening in our world forever, but you just may be the lifesaver. But you don't know that because your mind hasn't been massaged or challenged the way that learning has the ability to do so. Right. School is the only place I don't think will ever go out of business, because you need it in respects to service. As it goes back to what we were saying earlier, it's a form of service. Education is service. So, be the best service man or woman that you can be, because the credentials is going to allow you to have the ability to change lives, to shift paradigms, and to create and serve in new areas of infrastructure. So it's good for us all. It's not bad at all to go back to school for any level of learning or education. It is very good for you. And their testimonies, you could look up on YouTube of people who decided not to go to school and things that they wish they did, or folks that dropped out of school. These narratives are out here. And I think that sometimes if we're not exposed to the truth, we just go with the flow and we don't resist the current.
So that is definitely key, because when you get your degree, you are at the 1%. But just imagine that number.
Yes.
And this is not just 1% being African American. If you get your doctoral degree, you are entering the 1% of the population. Just imagine you being a person of color. If you're Black, brown, a person of color, Hispanic, Latino, a person of color. Just imagine that number is even smaller because it's not just the 1%, because not many of us are having
Or in
that.
the group, yeah. Mhm.
It's key for you to be the shifter in this world. That's why we're here today to say that it's okay to go
Yeah.
back. It's okay. Like, even if it's like, well, I have young children. Let me tell you something.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And I decided to go back to school having a 2-year-old. Like,
Mhm.
I start in May. So I
Yeah.
start my doctoral studies in May.
Mhm.
But no matter what it takes, no matter the sweat, no matter the sleepless nights, no matter the even
Push.
dark circles over my eyes, I'm a push forward, because there is things that I need to do, but there's things that God is requiring me to do.
Right. This is what we mean with the purpose. This is all intermingled.
Correct. And what you don't understand is when you go back to school and people see that doctor in front of your name, or MA, MS behind your name, and so forth.
It
There's
speaks volumes.
right. And also it opened doors because you're an expert in your field. You are an expert in regards to what you went to school for, and they can trust you. So it's not just sitting at the table in your current role. You
Right.
open the doors
For
for
somebody else.
yes, for someone else, but even more roles and more opportunities and your legacy. And we're going to talk about that in the
Paradigm shifting.
correct.
See?
Correct. Correct. You are going back not just for yourself, but your legacy, for that name, for me, the Scott name, for you, the Usted name, and hopefully I'm not butchering your name, sis, but
it's
you are going and whenever you get married, amen, to whatever name that is.
Come on here.
Yes. Yes. You are going back for your children's children.
Yeah.
Not just not because you're not leaving a inheritance for your children.
Right. It's the lineage.
Yes, your children's children.
The bloodline.
Yes. And if you look at all of these history books in regards to what people have done, they didn't do it for their immediate situation. You're reading it, and sorry, y'all know how I am, but I'm excited about this because it's just like you are, as African Americans, as people of color, you're going back so you can rewrite history, her story. This is your story. We
and
are
help somebody else create history.
yes,
You know, help them to be challenged and shift the paradigms. And you could be sitting next to the person who can create the next cure for COVID. You just never know, right? You just never know. But you won't know because they haven't been pushed in that or challenged. It's challenging, but it's necessary. It helps us in our church, infrastructures. It helps in our community advancement. I serve in community opportunities. I serve in service in so many ways, and I'm able to bring a level of awareness, a level of dialogue, a level of aptitude socially, a level of encouragement, motivation, something to think about. You're just dropping a seed wherever you can and hoping that it'll germinate and birth something. But it's all good. It's all for the good, and it's all to the good.
Yes. And this is what just popped into my spirit, that you know what, I'm too old for this, or I'm not equipped for this. I'm not supposed to do this because I don't have the brain for this. Take that negativity out of your mind. You're not too old.
For
You're
anything.
not too not equipped. You're
Yeah.
not, you are apt to do this. You are
Yes.
apt to go back and get your Bible degree. You are apt to go back and get your economics degree. You are apt to going back and bettering yourself. You are apt for it because you are sons and daughters in the kingdom of God. You are a royal priesthood. Hello, royalty. You are royalty, baby.
You matter.
Yes.
Matter. Your soul matters. You matter.
Yes.
Your
Yes.
brain matters. Everything matters.
But and you said something so key. Like if you look at anyone that is passing away, they don't really call them dead until their brain dies. So you could have other organs shutting down.
Come on.
You could have other
That brain
organs
is
shutting down. Yes.
still going.
Yes.
It's very powerful, but we just haven't had the narrative driven to the effect that would dispel some of these delineations of why people are, nope, not me. And me particularly was my personal and emotional devotion that goes with going back to school. That it wasn't necessarily the work per se, because as I say, we're all brilliant. We can do whatever we put our minds to, but it's more so just the lifestyle shift. I was just like, I don't want to go through this anymore. I don't want to feel like that. But God made it very clear that this is along the path. So you're gonna have to stop anyway.
And also there's some people, well, I didn't do that well in undergrad. I can't go back to school and so forth.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
You got to find the right person that can give you correct counseling. That's why academic counseling is very powerful, getting the right person. I must admit, I do academic counseling still, even though it's not in my current role, but there are folks that reach out to me, DM me all the time about going back to school, questions pertaining to it. What should I do? I've helped a young lady get into Harvard, helped a young man right now that's getting ready to go into a PhD program, helped quite a few people, and just basically helping them to navigate in spaces they felt maybe they should take their time away from, or maybe they should do it later, or they're not sure, looking at the grade trajectory. But I've been able to help them to find the light in the midst of the uncertainty. And that's really an operative key of somebody that's really there to motivate you and be in your life. They're always bringing light to the situation. Yes, it may be hard. I'm not saying be dismissive, but I am saying maintain the light of the situation. And sometimes people need to know that they can. And when you know you can, you will. And once you will and have a willingness, then there's performance. And once there's performance, there's outcome. And the outcome is always a successful outcome. So I think that your grades may be challenged, but there's always a way. As I said, you need to be around folks that know how to advise you correctly, drop those gems of truth, and really want to see you where you see yourself, and then some.
Absolutely. I am just so thankful just to have you here tonight, just being able to share your experience and share how you're able to push it forward to others, other
Yes.
sisters and brothers that may be on this line, and hopefully that this will trigger you to go back, go back and get what is yours. Go
Especially
back.
during this climate, it's the most.
Can we talk about that for a minute? We are in a pandemic. We are in a pandemic, right? We are shut in. Why is it so important to go back now or do what you need? Do what you are called to do now. Why is the time now? It's your time now. Why?
I think it's important to do it now because of the climate we're in. Secondly, a lot of people have said, man, if I just had the time. Now you got all the time in the world. The other reason is universities and colleges have shifted their traditional infrastructures to accommodate the current climate. So that may be more courses are available. Some institutions do a hybrid where it's certain days you come in, but most of it is online. But a lot of institutions have removed the traditional constructs. So it's been a little more accessible for people to go. The cost has definitely changed because the traditional cost of education is for a traditional in-person learning experience. You're paying to be in the building, to be one-on-one, or to be in a room or group setting, to use the lab, to use the space. Being at your home, there's a cut in tuition. There's also an accessibility that's different as far as you being able to do it on your own time because you can do it from home on your computer. So I think there's a lot of room that allows people to kind of do it and not have anything hindering them. So right now, I don't know if it'll ever go back to normal. I don't know how normal it will return, but I know for a fact, God is not going to put new wine in an old wineskin. So everything that's coming about that's new is not going to be able to be poured into the things that are holding on to the old. So if you're thinking of seeing some really great, amazing thing for yourself within the next month or the next couple of years, and you not have changed that skin, meaning you did not enroll in that program you know you should have, or you know you did not pick yourself up and start disciplining yourself, you're never going to receive the new or the blessings that are awaiting you.
Right.
So I think that now is the time, now or never, any other colloquialism or slogan you could think of.
But it's but
Use
science.
it.
Right.
Use it.
Yeah.
And I think that when you seek what you want, it will always appear. So some people may say, well, I haven't even seen any, advertisements, or I haven't been anywhere to see anything, because usually you'll see a commercial or something of that sort. Seek it out, look it up, investigate it. And I think that it'll open up itself to you. I have a colleague, I helped him get into a doctoral program right here in New York. And he was like, I don't know if I'm not sure. And he's much older than me, but I was able to encourage him and help him out with some things. And I said, just call. I know what the website is saying, but the universities are very non-traditional right now because of the climate. Just call. Lo and behold, they loved him. They spoke, had a nice dialogue. As a result, they said, listen, I like what I'm hearing. Send me your resume. Give me a personal statement, and we'll talk about getting you an admissions letter into the program.
Wow.
And he's been in the program now. This is his second semester. So he's going to be a doctor in no time. By the time this thing calms down, I'll be calling him doctor. You see what I'm saying? So this is why I think it's really good to think about going back now. And I encourage everybody that has been putting it off. I don't know any other time that would be better than now.
Right. Now is the perfect time.
Yes.
Now is the perfect time.
Now is your time.
It's your time to what? Level up.
That's right.
Level up. And leveling up in your education, so you could level up in your career.
Yeah. You deserve it. You deserve every good and perfect thing that pertains to your life's advancement. You deserve it.
Yes. Yes.
And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. If they do, I don't know. Maybe that might not be your tribe. Maybe that may not be the circle you need to have anymore.
Just said that, sis. Just said that.
That's what my mentor told me. She said, there are different things that I was going through. She said, I hear what you're saying, but I need you to pay attention and find your tribe. And I was like, but I want to do this and I like that, but they're being like this and I feel like this. And is that your tribe? And I was like, no, it's not. And then once I accepted that, my tribe found me.
Right, right. God will send you the right individuals to pour into your life, but also who will cheer you on, who will definitely cheer you.
You need those people that's going to cheer you on. I'm telling you. And watch how people started shifting once they found out that I was enrolled in a doctoral program. I mean, it was like that. As soon as I said it, because at first I didn't share it, but as soon as I said, oh no, I have class. What? Yeah, I'm in a doctoral program. Oh, didn't hear from them anymore. They celebrated me, then took back the celebration. I mean, I've experienced it. Like I said, that's another conversation. We're here to encourage people to go back to school. But there has been several instances and occasions that I can name beyond the fingers and toes that I own, where
but that's not a bad thing that you're saying, because it's just like people need to know that even when you better yourselves, people change.
Yes.
And if you see people changing, that they were not meant for you to be with you for a lifetime.
And that's okay.
What my mom told me. Like, there's individuals, especially when you're doing good, there will be seasonal individuals or people that will fall off on that season. So let them fall.
The seasoned people.
Let them fall, because the right individuals will support you through thick and through thin.
The genuine people, right?
Correct.
The genuine people.
Correct. And that's why I was asking, we were talking about in regards to jealousy, because you start to see individuals' true colors when you're bettering yourself for the good.
And it's not you. It's just the jealousy just be lingering in the air. And then it manifests itself around you and you're like, why are you here? I thought we were cool. You know what I mean? But it's like, oh, okay, I see. You want to be, but you don't want to do the work.
Correct.
Lazy doesn't beget success. It doesn't do that. Robert Glasper just said this. He did a live the other day about some folks that kept trying to get some of his charts for the work that he's done, for the music he's played. And he's like, why would I give you something that I stayed up long hours creating and building, and you're just gonna ask me for it? And you wonder why you're not great? Because you don't want to work. And I was just like, he's like, you can't expect great. Laziness doesn't produce greatness.
Correct.
And so I think folks sometimes have been so
no more handouts
from scrolling and watching and get rich quick stuff that they see work and they go, I'm out. I'm out. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do no work. What kind of work? You think it's the Rihanna work? No, we're not talking about that work. We're talking about work. Like work. You smart? You got a little. Okay, that's the work we're talking about. And that's what it requires.
Look, and I'm switching gears a little bit, and okay. I may be getting in a little bit into next week, but I'm about to say what I gotta say, and we gonna have some encouragement from the woman of God. But if you need to go back, get your LLC, go forth and do the catering business. Whatever God has told you to do, don't let anyone stop you. Don't let any negative Nancy's go forth and speak negativity to your life. Just do it. Just go forth. If God has given you the plan, if God has given you the concept, research, because that's key. This is all about leveling up. Do your research, speak to the right individuals.
Credible research and credible people. Thanks.
Credible. Okay. All right. Yes. Credible individuals who know what they're talking about and are skilled within their particular arena, because that's what it is, an arena, and do it. Go forth. Do it. Don't let anyone stop you, even if it's you, because sometimes we are our worst selves. And that's for another day, another another time, but get out your way and do it.
Yeah.
So for those, this is 9:41. For those who tuned in tonight, and this may be a confirmation for you to go back to school, you can do it. And also, you don't have to limit yourself in regards to the school that you want to go to.
No, go wherever you want to go. Bye. I tell people, bye, go. They go, you think, go, bye. Text me, message me, let me know how it goes. Go forth. Go forth and be great. Because sometimes you need to change environments. You need to get out of the city. Sometimes you need to get out of the state. Sometimes you need to, I'm telling you, I've been to a lot of colleges and universities, and I got a different level of inspiration and motivation, right? Environments matter. That's
Yes.
why you have to make sure you're picking the correct school that goes with what your purpose and desire is, that connects with how you feel, how you see yourself. All of that matters. Your environment is very important. I'm telling you.
Absolutely. And also do the research in regards to the degree that you're going to go into. Because some
Mhm.
people are like, well, what's good for me? Go to the school or find a credible source that can
Yes.
be able to decipher and
Yes.
help you direct you in the right direction to go into. Because there's sometimes when people can see more than you see yourself,
Mhm.
but also see something more than what you're limiting yourself into.
Yeah.
And I thank God, and I'm giving a special shout out to my Bishop Baston. Thank you so
Bishop.
much. Thank you so much, Bishop, for pushing me to go
And
forward.
thank you, Bishop. Thank you. Man of God. Thank you, man of God.
Thank you. Thank you, Prophetess Baston, for speaking into me in regards to what I can be and what I shall be.
Yes.
I give it up to my leaders, but also my husband. That's
Woo-hoo,
Nat,
Joe.
you can do this. Nat, I believe in you. Nat, even our child is young, you
Mhm.
can do this. You can do support systems matter. Support systems matter.
We need them.
Yes. And I know my mom is not watching, but also my mom, my sister, and also my big sis. Thank you all for pushing me forward to
Yeah.
go back and get this doctoral degree.
It's worth
So,
it. It's worth it.
yes.
Worth it.
So I probably will be up at like 3 a.m. and so forth.
I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. Yes, that is absolutely correct. I just got my sleep pattern back.
Yes. So I will
Just got it back.
be I will be up late, just like everybody else. But by the time my daughter goes to elementary school, I'll be done. Or before she
Yeah,
goes
I think
to,
before.
yes, before she goes to elementary school, I'll be done. Like, can you like,
Time goes like this. I'm telling
yes,
you.
yes, yes. So, what last encouragement would you like to give to the people in regards to leveling up and going back to school? I just thank you so much for this time. It's we've been trying to connect for how long now, but we thank
A
God for
very
the
long
set time.
time. And
Oh,
then tonight with the connection activity, I said, now this is a mess. We
it
just can't get, we just trying to connect and connect with the world. We just,
correct, correct. But I hope that this live has helped someone to
Mhm.
see themselves and their best potential, to
Yes.
what they shall be. And that's why this were so many issues going on, because the enemy did not want you to hear what you shall be. And even for that mother, even for that single mother, you can do it. Even for
Yes.
that father, you can do
You
it.
do it.
Although your mother may not have went to school, even if your father has not went to school,
Start the trend.
yes,
Yeah.
you can do it. It is your time right now. But that's all I gotta say
Okay.
in regards to that. But let's take it home, sis. What would you like to tell the people in regards to leveling up, and where can the people find you?
Okay. So you can find me on Facebook. I'm Shayna Utse. You can locate me on Instagram, Dr. Shayna Utse on there. And you can look up my research. You can Google my name and my research will come up.
Hey.
Um, my research is about how student affairs practitioners can utilize campus ministry to meet the holistic and diverse needs of college students. And then later on, we found another loophole of some sort, and we basically entitled it The Perspectives of Student Affairs Practitioners on Meeting the Holistic and Diverse Needs of College Students. So my theoretical framework was spiritual development theory But then my theoretical lens was student engagement theory. So again, as a student affairs practitioner, that's how I was able to move forward with the work. And some lasting words, it would be control your own narrative. A lot of what we talked about tonight were based on some things we've heard people say. Now, these are narratives that belong to so many other people. And I'm an educator and I'm engaging, so I talk with my hands a lot. So if it bothers people, I'm sorry. But, you know, when you're talking to students and they're like looking at you, you got to be a little, you know, and it's kind of late right now. So I think it's important to control your own narrative, because then you can create your own story, you can create your own history, and you can really infiltrate the infrastructure that is around you. And once you start detaching yourself from what people say or what someone has said, and you become confident in your own voice, your thinking becomes sharper, your abilities become more keen, and you'll really see that you're a force to be reckoned with. And I think once you know your narrative and the way that you can change it and how you have control over it, I believe that that's what's going to enlighten you to go forward in all areas of your life. But the instructional wealth that you're going to gain from education cannot be replaced. It cannot be refuted. There's literature available at the library, but that's not the same literature that folks are reading in school. Yes, I understand that you can read something from the internet, but you don't know if the source is credible or not. But if you go to school, they only allow you to have access to credible sites and resources. So it's a protected space for learning and engagement, but it's also a protected space where you can control and change narratives. So being a person of color, particularly, I was able to change narratives in my classroom. I was able to change narratives at certain college presentations and workshops. I was able to be a voice and to bring voice to spaces and things that were limited and hindered. So the value of your narrative, it transcends beyond what you think. And I really encourage you all to think about how you can control it. How can you gain confidence? How can you gain the authority that you need to live your life and not live it the way somebody is controlling it or somebody is telling you. And it allows you to see clear, because you can say, I know what I know, but why are you telling me this? And then it allows you to kind of sift out those things that are not true and those things that are genuine. So I think it's very important for folks to control their narrative as it relates to their life in general. And that also falls into the realms of education, relationships, community, life expansion, just growth financially. Control your narrative of your finances, control the narrative of your relationships, control the narrative of your friendships. Get back into the driver's seat of your life by controlling your narrative.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your
Gosh,
time.
thank you for having
Thank you
me.
for your patience. I thank you just for all of the great things that you will get into even more. So again, thank you. Next week, we're going to have this together, y'all, because I got to make some calls to make sure that we together by next week. But next week, I am having another doctor, Dr. Sharon Carrion.
Yes.
And my session with her will be at 6 p.m. And the session was, it's your time of influence.
Mm-hmm.
If you felt as if you didn't have a voice, this is the session for you.
Yes.
It's your time of influence. And I just want to say a little pen. All of the women that will be talking with me during this series have their doctorate degree or are currently in school for their doctoral degree. Every last one of them are currently in school for their doctoral degree, because this is the year of the Black woman. That was what the prophetic word was. This is the year of the
We're coming out of oppressive states, oppressive everything. We've been down way too long.
Yes. And this is the year that we are going to break the glass ceiling and keep it broken.
Right. We need some guards to make sure it doesn't get back together.
Break it open. So again, thank you. Thank you all for your patience and your time.
Yes, thank you all so much. This is great.
But this was great. Until next time. Bye-bye.